He's Tony. I'm Mike, and this is week 7 of the Action Bowl.
Week 7 has us drawing for Bruce Willis and Steven Seagal.
Who do you want to draw for?
I want to draw for Steven Seagal.
All right.
He's my horse in this one. Don't hate. So
Mr. Seagal is going to get...
Above the Law.
I know I've seen this movie, but I don't remember a damn thing about it.
This is the movie that kicked off Steven Seagal's career, and this is the movie that allowed him to actually become a legit action star for a time.
Does it have Kelly LeBrock in it?
Yes.
Okay.
No, wait, that is... No. Above the Law has Sharon Stone in it.
Oh, really?
A very young, very not really too well-known Sharon Stone, and Pam Grier.
Fair.
So
I like Pam Grier.
So, put your hand out. Put your hand out. Shame on you. Mike will be drawing for Bruce Willis.
I totally forgot what movies we picked out for Bruce Willis. I have no clue what I'm going to be drawing here at all. Armageddon.
Ooh, we got the spicy one. So basically what we have here is style over substance on this. Armageddon, famously, Michael Bay, huge blockbuster film. Above the Law, a budding action star's first outing on this one.
Wait, are you trying to tell me that Armageddon is all style and that Above the Law is substance?
There's a bit to it.
I think you're full of shit on this one, but we'll find out.
So, all right, stay tuned. You'll hear our commentary underscores.
So week 7 of the Action Bowl brings us Steven Seagal facing off against Bruce Willis. And what can I tell you? Bruce Willis drew Armageddon and Steven Seagal drew Above the Law. Let's talk Armageddon first, shall we?
Yeah, fine.
Now, see, this is the film that gave Michael Bay his reputation for being over the top. But I'm going to say no. If you're blaming this film on Michael Bay, you're placing the blame in the wrong slot. Because do you know who co-wrote this script?
Go ahead.
J.J. Abrams. And J.J. Abrams has a nasty habit of basically, rather than having things happen within a plot, just have a bunch of shit happen in a row. So, and that's what passes for character and plot development on this one. And it has all of his tropes. It has all of his character tropes.
I am not crazy. I'm just a little emotional right now, okay? Y'all throwing all this stuff at me, man. But after this is over, could I get a hug from you or something?
It has all of his non-stop action shtick.
Yes.
And nothing makes any sense if you
Yes.
ever stop and think about it. So yeah, but this is not about Michael Bay or J.J. Abrams. This is about Bruce Willis.
Make your peace with God, AJ!
Well, here's the other sad thing, too, is we should have been a little more careful in our film selections, because while this has, action, and it's not like an action movie, it's a disaster movie is really what it is, what it boils down to.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
And so in that case, Michael Bay set the tone for every disaster movie that came after this.
Yes, he did. Actually, Michael Bay and Dean Devlin and Roland Emmerich, because their big movies were always disaster films.
Yeah.
So,
but at least Michael Bay's style is much more watchable, because Independence Day came out 2 years before this.
Yeah.
And what do you think when we think of Independence Day? The fucking White House getting blown up.
Yeah, exactly.
And the ships, and that's really about it. With this, there's great action sequence after action sequence after action sequence that goes on in this movie.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's like one after another, after another, after another, after another. It's like watching a shitty reality TV show where it's like one piece of drama after another keep coming and coming and coming. It's like, fuck, dude, just stop already.
Yeah, and there's absolutely, there is no rest. There is
No.
it is nonstop to the point to where after you're watching this for a while, you just kind of tune out and glaze over. It becomes boring.
Yes.
And that is this film's biggest sin, because it's bad enough that they got the science all wrong. And I'm not even going to get into that one because this is not the Science Bowl. This is the Action Bowl. But the action sequences, there is some really interesting stuff action sequence-wise in here. But then, like, they try to defuse it with a shitty joke.
No nukes, no nukes, no nukes.
You got any more bullets in that gun shop?
Or they like
Yes.
like, oh well, this action sequence leads to that. You're absolutely right. It's nonstop pace, doesn't put you on the edge of your seat. It makes you want to lay back and recline in your seat and then close your eyes and then take a nap. So
It's like having Thanksgiving dinner. You get all this shit on a fucking plate, you take it all in, and like you're fucking comatose afterwards.
that is the perfect analogy for this one. It is most definitely that. But Bruce Willis, honestly, like his character comes off as such an asshole in this whole movie.
You said we did a bad job of putting it together?
No, I said you did a piss poor job of putting it together.
You know, first,
Well,
Ben Affleck is sleeping with his daughter, who he didn't see until his daughter was an adult, but he's gonna, like, chase him around an oil rig with a shotgun.
It's not funny anymore.
yeah, that's way over the top.
And then to boot, then, you know, they get brought in by NASA. Oh, well, did you open up the patent office and steal my drill? Because you put it together wrong, and you don't need to send those astronauts. Yeah, Chris, let me see if I understand this correctly.
no, that's not being an asshole. That's the government fucking ripping you off. So you know what? I'm behind you on that one, Bruce Willis. Fuck you.
Wait, if it is, here's a check from the government for your patent versus the end of
But he
mankind.
didn't get a fucking check from the fucking government.
He got a ride into space, and then he got to get blowed up. So
Right, so fuck you, government. Yes,
No,
Bruce
no.
Willis had every reason to be pissed off.
Just
yeah.
gonna say Bruce Willis got what he had coming, and that's I
No,
was not a
I'm-
fan of his
I'm
character.
disagreeing with you.
I
totally
was
disagree
not
with
a
you.
fan of his character. Number one. Number two, Steve Buscemi. Remember I told you I think I kind of need to rethink that whole Steve Buscemi thing after we watched Escape from L.A. This movie is really making me think, you know what, if Quentin Tarantino's not directing him, I don't want to watch him anymore. So,
Trying to have some fun before I die.
His character does suck in this one.
Whoa! This is so much fun, it's freaky.
And it's unfortunate it's 2 in a row for you. But at the same time, like when he's in a Tarantino movie, he's great.
Yeah, yeah.
But even outside of that, like in I love his character in The Big Lebowski.
yeah.
Yeah.
No. I mean, like I said, I'm being harsh to be
Yeah.
funny on this one, but I mean, really, his character, I like literally,
annoying.
I can't stand him. And the
Yes.
weird thing about it is that the best character in this film that comes off is Ben Affleck.
Well, we all gotta die, right? I'm the guy who gets to do it saving the world.
He comes off as the most likable when this is all said and done.
Yes.
How strange is that to say out loud? And I have nothing against Ben Affleck, but in this film, the cast of characters, even William Fichtner as the space shuttle commander.
Oh no, he's a dick.
Yeah.
Give us the time, Sharp. Shut this bomb down now.
It's not my call.
Then whose call is it?
The order to detonate can only come from the president.
Yeah, so
he is a straight dick.
So none of them are terribly likable.
No.
I mean, you know, Billy Bob Thornton and Ben Affleck, and that's about it.
Yeah.
But
Here, and just jumping in on your what's his name, Hate Train.
Steve Buscemi?
No.
Oh, J.J. Abrams' Hate Train.
J.J. Abrams,
Yes.
yeah. So 18 hours ago, they're all on a rig, and then you know they what's his face, Bruce Willis, and what's her name gets taken away to the Pentagon. Then so it's like 18 hours, and like 2 hours left to explain everything. Well, we need to group together and all this stuff. It's like, well, we gotta find them. So everybody abandoned the rig within a 24-hour span, and they're all across the world. Like some's in Vegas, some's in some ranch here, some's over here. It's like that makes no fucking sense.
No,
they're not
J.J.
gonna
Abrams. J.J. Abrams.
They're not gonna abandon a rig just because, I mean, you're in the middle of drilling some shit. You got a responsibility. You got millions of dollars out there in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah, one's in Vegas, and one is on a ranch in Montana or Wyoming or some shit, and one of them is on a motorcycle outrunning a bunch of cops.
For reasons.
Yeah. And you know, Steve Buscemi is like at a strip club, and it's like, what? Okay,
No.
first off, you know, how does that work? You left your guy in charge of the rig while you left to continue doing their jobs, but...
Yeah. And then he started his own business.
Yeah,
Within 24 hours.
Yeah.
Owned by whatever his name is.
It was AJ Oil.
Yeah. We're working a rig. I'm like, no.
J.J. Abrams needs to keep a calendar, and so he can do realistic timelines on stuff. So this movie is hugely flawed. But see, here's the thing. Michael Bay did The Rock, and The Rock is solid. It is a great action film.
Michael Bay does great action.
Yes.
Bad Boys is fantastic.
Yeah.
I love that movie. That movie's great.
But this script, he
dog
did everything.
shit.
He did everything he could with a shitty script, and that's the hallmark of a good director. Is he elevated the material he was given, because this script is crap.
It is awful.
And
So
and
bad.
that all being said, let's get down to some scores.
Okay.
I want to hear what you got to say about Armageddon.
Okay. So, Armageddon, a plot 4. I mean, there's been plane disaster movies. There was actually a meteor movie that same year.
There was 3, I think, and there's like Deep Impact with Téa Leone, and it was the summer of asteroids.
it truly was, and at least Deep Impact was more realistic.
Yeah.
I'm not saying the science was great and all that, but I remember it being more an accurate interpretation of probably what I think would happen in this particular scenario. So plot of 4, style a 5. I mean, it still is Michael Bay, and there is style galore through this movie. Is it great? No, but then again, the material had to work with, like I said, was dog shit. So it is what it is. Fun? 1. 1.
I'm just going to say that I don't think
Oh,
we have more in common on this one.
10.
For the plot, I too gave it a 4, just because it is such a sloppy, poorly written script. It makes my spine hurt. Just how aggravating it is, and really, how tough is it to actually call NASA if you're like Michael Bay and you're producing a big and go, hey, can we talk to somebody about what would the reality of an asteroid impact be? Number 1. Number 2, the style. You were far more generous than I gave it a 2, and I gave it a 2 because again, it has some interesting ideas. It has some interesting ideas, but it got so much wrong. It's like, you know what, I can make a great looking pair of pants, but if I try to wear them as a shirt, I'm gonna look stupid. And that's what this movie does. It tries to wear it as a shirt.
I'm
it's
sorry,
stupid.
I gotta disagree with you, because just Michael Bay alone does not put style of 2. You're being really...
I am being brutal, but at the end of the day, really, what do we got here? We have 2 space shuttles that were designed, and then other than that, it's some buildings and some spacesuits. There's not a lot going on production value-wise on this one. I mean, production design-wise on this one. The asteroid is completely wrong, by the way, and if it was belching, fire and gas all over the place, how tough could it really be to blow up something that's kind of fallen apart on its own? That's it. That's what I got on that one.
It's supposed to be as big as Texas.
Yeah, well, yeah. And,
But anyways, go ahead.
But anyway, and then for the fun, I gave it a 2. I gave it slightly higher than you. So my score overall for Armageddon is an 8, and it is just bottom of the barrel action as far as I'm concerned. So we're not that far apart on this. You might disagree with my metrics, but I'm just going to say we wound up in the same neighborhood.
Yes, we did.
And rounding out this week, Steven Seagal, Mr. Ponytail FBI guy in
No
his
ponytail.
No ponytail. It was a proto ponytail. He just realized that he needed a ponytail to continue his career, so he just kind of started growing it out in this one. But
He's already thinning though up at the top.
but he's thinning at the top, but he is above the law. I'm going to tell you flat out. I don't know what alternate reality we slipped into, but somehow Steven Seagal made the best film that we've watched out of the last 4.
Well,
and I don't know how to feel about that.
well, the scores will determine whether or not that's actually truth or not. So,
well, tell me your thoughts on this.
Well, this again, it's a movie that we've seen before. So, like every Filipino action movie we watched here in the last couple months that you guys have seen us review, this is a higher budget version of that, except for it doesn't actually take place in the Philippines. It took place here in the United States. But you know what? It probably would have done better if it took place in the Philippines. It probably would have done better if it had Mike Ransom in it.
Hey,
Because it's got the exact same style of plot in it for the most part.
Yeah, for the most part, a bit.
So so you got Steven Seagal doing some kung fu-y things. It's whatever. I never stood the whole Steven Seagal thing. It doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. It's mediocre action. He's a mediocre actor. You got Pam Grier, who's underutilized.
And you got 5 seconds, and 3 are up.
Say, you ain't got to be like, hey, you know, like Lady Cops need boyfriends too.
You got Sharon Stone
who's
in this.
completely underutilized.
Yeah. Well, this was a very early role in her career.
Nico, why is the CIA calling you at 2 o'clock in the morning?
This is before Sharon Stone was Sharon Stone.
Yes.
So,
like you'll recognize, you'll barely recognize her. You're like, wait a sec, that girl looks very familiar. And this is before
Total Recall,
and Basic Instinct, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, so she's very toned down in this one.
Yes.
And everybody else in the cast is like just your typical character actors that you see in a bazillion movies before.
I beg your pardon, good sir. I'm going to say that Ron Silva elevates everything that he is in.
I'm going to start cutting you off at the ankles. Then I'm going to take your feet and throw them right over there in that basket.
This character is so freaking annoying. He's so obsessed with drugging people and torturing them.
I'm going to teach you never to with my opium.
And it never works. The drugs don't work.
Well, you gotta appreciate
there's supposed to be like some tortured drugs, or like some truth serum stuff to get something out of them, but it doesn't work. They never work. It's just an excuse to
chemical interrogation is how they refer to it in the film.
But anyways, it doesn't work. He's just like just mutilating them because he's a sadomasochist.
Look, if you love your job, you'll never work a day in your life.
You would know by looking at him because he looks old as shit in this movie.
Nelson, bring our friend in.
And this is like just a couple years after Megaforce.
All right, Ace! All right! I'll see you another time!
Yeah.
He looks way better in Megaforce and a much more entertaining character in Megaforce.
Well, they did silver him up a little bit. That is not his. I'm not sure what his real hair color is.
He looks skinny and skeletal in this. So in Megaforce, he looks more younger and virile. He had a cheeseburger recently. So, and this one looks like he's a crackhead.
For the first time in my life, I'm gonna do it just for the fun.
Sorry, I fucking hate this movie. This movie fucking sucks.
Opium was his jam. See, now I'm gonna say this. It does bear a strong resemblance to a lot of the Filipino films, like you said. But this was hot on the heels of the Iran-Contra scandal, and this is basically about holding CIA agents accountability for crimes that they did in the United States. So this film aspires to be a smarter sort of action thriller film.
Fail.
And I'm going to say that for me, it actually, I don't mind this movie. I don't love it, but I don't hate it. I didn't mind watching this one.
It took me 4 attempts to make it through the film. 4? I fell asleep 3 times trying to watch this fucking thing to get through it.
So what you're saying is that times of us having like scores that are like within a point of it, that shit is over for Steven Seagal. Steven Seagal brings out the best and the worst in people. So let's talk your scores. Let's just cut to the chase on this one, because there's all kinds of stuff to talk about. But your scores are the most important part of this whole thing.
So the plot's a 3. It's an amalgamation of shit. You've seen it all before. There's nothing new. You're not breaking any new ground here at all whatsoever.
Or deadly ground, for that matter. It's a Seagal joke.
A bad one at that. Style is a 3. Again, you've seen this shit before. There's nothing new. The action scenes are okay, I guess. It's whatever.
Well, at the time that they came out, Aikido had never really been put on film like this before. So at the time, they were revolutionary. But you're right.
Martial arts is martial arts. And this style of martial arts is not very entertaining on film. It's a lot of him just hitting people in the throat and knocking them down. That's half his movie set. Don't believe me?
yeah.
Watch the movie. You know what? Don't watch the movie. Save yourself fucking an hour and a half, or potentially longer, because this really took me probably about 4 or 5 hours to watch. Anyway, fun. 1.
Wow, really?
That's a total of 7. I think that's generous.
Well, I'm just gonna say you're gonna be angry at me here in a second. For the plot, I gave it a 7. Because
How?
Because, like I said, it was hot on the heels of Iran-Contra. They are dealing with the criminality of some of the shit the CIA was doing at the time. And it starts off with just him being a cop who is running a basic investigation, and he kind of stumbles into it. And it is intelligently enough written that A leads to B, leads to C. After Michael Bay?
Really?
After Michael Bay, where shit just happens to keep something happening on screen, this was a refreshing change of pace for me because, like I said, the plot sequentially makes sense. And it ties into a lot of different things.
No, because this is an hour shorter than Armageddon, and
30
this
minutes.
felt longer than Armageddon by a country fucking mile.
So like I said, I actually kind of like the plot. For the style, I gave it a 5. It's right down the middle. It's not great. It's not bad. Like I said, the Aikido on film is something that has kind of, we've seen it all at this point, but in 1990, whatever this was, 91, 92, something.
Hey, just because it's new and different doesn't mean it's fucking good.
I enjoyed it for
saying.
what it is. So, and then for the fun, I gave it a 5. It's perfectly average. I don't love this film. I don't hate this film. I watched it, and I'm gonna say this: that after the last 3 action films that we watched, they kind of tainted this. It was just refreshing to see a competently done action film. So my score overall on this one is a 17.
Lord, how is that possible? How did that happen? Were you like drunk when you watched
No,
this?
I was stone sober.
Here's the thing. Even with these scores, and we have our winner, I will say this. We're still both losers no matter what in this one.
You're
because
not
neither one of
wrong.
these movies are fucking good.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you're not wrong. And remember this, like the whole point of the Action Bowl was too good, too bad, and then random matchups, and then random film selections.
Yeah.
And it was supposed to be fun. I was wrong. I'm sorry. I'm just going to apologize to you now. Like these last 2 weeks, it has been excruciating, some of these films. When an action film is good, it's entertaining and you're cheering and you're laughing and you're rooting for the good guy. When an action film is bad, it is quite possibly the most painful genre of film when you're watching a bad one.
Yes, it
a
is.
bad horror film is okay. A bad action film is painful, physically painful. So, but let's just get down to it. Let's recap our scores. For Bruce Willis, you gave him a 10. I gave him an 8. That gives us an average score of 9. And then Steven Seagal, there was a wide difference in opinion here. You gave 7. I gave him a 17. So
24.
the grand total on that one, the average score is a 12. So we have our winner. Somehow, inexplicably, Steven Seagal is moving on to the next round. Bruce Willis, well, I'm just going to say that it looks like he's about to die hard.
Just stop. Just stop. But Bruce Willis, into the Action Bowl of shame, never to be spoken of again.
That's it for this week at the Action Bowl. Join us next week when Mel Gibson faces off against Chow Yun-Fat in our last matchup of the initial round of the Action Bowl. Catch us then.
The last man. I don't think you can drop us off, badass.
You're right, but I'll get an A for effort.